Hi there, and welcome back to the Agility Coach. I'm Kathy Keats, and you're looking at a chalk talk for the Art of Reading Agility courses. This one has to do with line of sight obstacles versus blind obstacles. In this example, the course is supposed to go from A to B, and the handler, for whatever reason, the way the course has come perhaps, has to be on this side. In this situation, a lot of people assume the dog is going to see A to B, and that's a very natural assumption to make. But there's a couple things we have to consider here. Because obstacle B is not square to the dog's path, and what I mean by square is that it's perpendicular to the dog's path, what happens is it's not as natural for the dog to see it. Whereas this tunnel entrance is square to the dog's path. The other thing that's influencing this line here is, even though I have the dog pointing a little bit at B right now, is the handler being on the right side is going to put the dog on the right lead. That means the dog is naturally going to want to curve to the right. So with those two situations happening, B is actually a fairly difficult obstacle, or what I would refer to as a blind obstacle, because the dog even might be glancing towards the handler, it's on the lead towards the handler, there's an obstacle square to its path that's not the correct obstacle. So there's a lot of things drawing the dog's attention away from obstacle B. Now, if you take this handler right here, and you put the handler back here instead, now this handler that would be back here is in big trouble, because the dog is going to curve and the handler can't get there to put pressure on the line to push the dog out to B. The handler in the example here is in a bit better position because she's ahead of the dog. So in this situation, when the dog lands, as long as the handler keeps driving forward in this direction, the handler will take the tunnel out of play as a line of sight obstacle, and the dog will go over B. One thing that the handler has to be careful of, however, is right at the point where the dog is over top of this jump is not a good time to push into the dog, because that's when you're likely to have the dog twist over the bar and hit the bar and bring it down. If the handler takes a steady line and keeps driving towards B, the dog will parallel that path. So those are some things to consider. Even though B might seem obvious to you, remember the dog doesn't know it, so it's looking for the more obvious obstacles, which are the obstacles that are on its natural path, which this is the natural path because it's naturally curving towards the handler, and the tunnel is square to its path. So those things are big draws, so to make sure that from a handling perspective you take care of that, you have to drive and position yourself ahead of the dog so as to take the tunnel out of the picture and make B the only possible option. I hope you've enjoyed this chalk talk. There's more to come. I hope you're enjoying the Art of Reading Agility courses, and we'll see you soon.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.